Welcome to One on One with Mitch Lafon. Joining me on this episode from, yes, it is drummer Alan White. We talk about the 2017 cruise to the Edge, his health, working with John Lennon, and a lot more. Before checking out Alan, please check me out on Twitter at Mitch Lafon, MITCHLAFON, on Instagram, Mitch_Lafon. One-on-one, Mitch Lafon on Facebook and paypal.me/Mitch Lafon, should you care to support the podcast. And with that, here is the one, the only, drummer for the band, yes, Alan White. We're speaking with Yes drummer Alan White. He's about to embark on a tour of Japan with the band, and also the cruise, which is a Cruise to the Edge, which is coming up for February. A great pleasure to speak with you, Alan. Let's just get into this back thing. You missed out on the summer tour. Are you fully recuperated at this point for the Japan tour?
I wouldn't say I was fully recuperated right now, but I'm actually feeling very good. I get occasional kind of twinges and stuff like that, but I'm actually feeling pretty good to go. Okay.
When the injury came up, especially being a drummer, were you at all concerned that, this might be the end? That I might not be able to come back from this one?
Not really, because actually I finished the rest of the tour when it happened in Europe, and they were pumping all kinds of steroids into me and stuff like that. So I go on stage and play. But at the same time, we made it to the end. And the funny thing is, it's just...
And that's where the phone died, but we keep going. Here's Alan once again. So you were saying that you're out in Europe, and they were pumping you with steroids, and you managed to finish...
I had to make the show and stuff like that. It really happened only about 10 days before the end of the tour. But at the same time, we got through it. And I've been recuperating for quite a while now, and I'm okay now. I'm fine.
Now the cruise coming up. Talk to me a little bit about that experience of being on a cruise. Is that something you like, and how are the shows different in terms of how you approach them as a musician?
They're not really much different. They have everything the same as a normal show. Only you're on a boat, and I think we've done 3 or 4 of these now. And if you hit rough weather, which we seem to quite occasionally when we go on stage, basically, I remember taking a bow at the end of the show, and all of us shifted sideways about 2 feet. So there is the, buoyancy kind of aspect.
Right. Is the band also going to be doing the drama album and the current one, or are you changing it up and sort of doing a greatest hits? How do you approach the set list for that?
We're actually doing part of everything. We're doing graphic, and then also we're doing some of the drama songs and some greatest hits kind of thing. It's like a mixture.
That would definitely be exciting. Now, I'm trying to rush through here because we've only got 20 minutes, and there's just such a rich history. Today is November 7th, 1983. The 90125 album came out. One of your most successful albums. Talk to me about that album in a sense, because you had been over doing some other stuff, XYZ, cinema. This album really shouldn't have happened. The band had sort of given up, and yet you came back and apparently stronger than ever before. How was it for you going into those sessions?
It was really great, because the whole thing came from Chris and myself just being very good colleagues in music, and we knew what we had together worked. So we just had to find somebody, and we ran into Trevor Rabin, and the whole thing clicked immediately, and everything sprung from that. Then we rehearsed for like 6 months in London, and then And then we were recording with Trevor Horn, and the whole thing just came to light.
Looking back on it now, how important was it to the career?
Oh, it's a phenomenal album. I mean, there's some absolutely fantastic songs, which was a kind of collaboration between the three of us, plus, and then Tony Kaye got invited back into the fold. So it was a very enjoyable experience.
There's so many things I want to get into here.
Well, I've had a long career, as you can tell.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they said to me, "Boy, you got 20 minutes with Alan." I'm like, 20 minutes? That's only going to cover, the Plastic Ono days. So let's talk about that.
The answer is yes to everything.
Yeah, isn't it though? But let me look at that album, Imagine, that you did with John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band.
Right.
How did you get to be in that entourage? How did you meet John, and what's it like working with him? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Was he a genius? Was he a mad scientist?
Oh, you know what? He was a total genius. I mean, a guy that can come up with songs like that and Imagine is still today one of the most, you take those lyrics into context and it really goes on with current culture and what's happening, even the election in America. As I sit here getting bombarded with it.
And so how was it for you? Did you have sort of a freedom to come in and lay down the drums as you wished? Or was it very dictated and very regimented?
No, it was very much a band thing. John, we had a schedule for sessions. It was all done within a week, the backing tracks, and he gave us the lyrics to every song he wrote because he wanted everybody to know what they were saying. And then we sat down and magic things happened.
So let's have a look at the song itself. You've played on some of the greatest iconic songs, Owner of a Lonely Heart and all that other stuff. Does Imagine stand out as being sort of the one that's above and beyond, or was it sort of just another song for you?
That's a difficult question because it's like, My Sweet Lord also, you got to pull that into the group, My Sweet Lord, and there's so many things I played on, when I played with Joe Cocker and all these icons in life. It's quite an experience to kind of be involved with all that kind of stuff. And every one was a kind of, how do you say, it was just an iconic experience, just being part of it. But some of this stuff, I was so young at the time, I didn't realize what I was doing. I said, oh, okay, I recorded another track. And then I'm going, oh, my God, this sounds amazing. At a later day, I just got on with my job, basically, which is kind of hard to explain.
Right.
I didn't let it go to my head, as it were, at that time.
And you, of course, mentioned George Harrison. You played on a couple of albums for him. How did you get connected with all the Beatles and all that? And how did that affect your stock in the business? Do people look at you and go, oh, well, he's the drummer who played with the Beatles guys? And did it lead to other opportunities? First of all, how do you get into contact?
It was a classic, what I thought in my mind at that time. I was 20 years old when I played on Imagine. I thought, well, I guess this is what happens to people when they make it in the music business, or something like that, or as to step up to the next thing, And luckily for me, I joined Yes, and musically that was really interesting for me.
All right, so let me keep moving along here because there's just way too much. Ramshackled, the solo album that you put out in 1976, I guess.
Yep.
Talk to me about the idea behind that album and that period where sort of everybody was releasing their own solo albums. Was there ever a thought of becoming a solo artist, or was it just here's this one expression, let me do it, let me get it out of my system, and then back to business?
Yeah, it basically was let it get out of my system. I'd spent maybe 3 or 4 years building up to that time before I joined Yes and John Lennon and all that kind of stuff with his band. And I thought this music was too good to just let it go. So we got back in the studio, and within 3 months, we put this album together that I was proud of because it had lots of jazz influence and stuff, and that music really was the teaching process for moving into a band like Yes. That a lot of complex kind of things going on.
Is that something that you would like to revisit at some point and make another solo album, or is it too?
Nah,
No.
you know what? That was just a period of time. And I got it out of my system like everyone else did, and we were proud of the product. But you know what? A couple of the guys I haven't heard from for so many years. And I know the keyboard player, he was in a car accident, and he's not around anymore. So they were great guys, and we had a lot of great time, but I don't revisit that area. I've been thinking of revisiting a more ethnic kind of style of playing and pretty kind of world beat and stuff like that. So I'm in that area right I was creating.
Let me get on over here. Sorry as I'm running through this like a marathon. It's just there's so many topics I want to cover here. Cinema XYZ, and of course, Yes, with Chris Squire. Talk to me about Chris a little bit. What was it about him and you that just connected and made you do project after project together? And what was so unique and special about him?
Well, you know what? We had a great mental understanding of each other, and he was one of the greatest bass players in the world, if not for me. He was so articulate and creative with what he did, songwriting and bass and everything. And, him passing away, I miss him dearly because we had a connection for 43 years.
Yeah, you really did. And I don't want to talk too much about his passing, but, other than to offer my condolences, did it feel like part of you was gone when he passed away? Kind of musically, and as a friend, and someone I knew for an awful long time. We did some great things together. So obviously, I'm going to miss him, but you have to get on with life. And one of his last statements he told me before he passed away was, "I want you." That's right, folks. Just at that crucial moment, technology failed us. So let's continue. Here's Alan White. If we can just finish that the story you were telling about Chris, one of the last things he had said to you was what? Well, we had a phone call, and I think he actually knew at that time that he wasn't going to come out of the thing with leukemia, and he just said, I'll just keep doing what you do and keep Yes moving on like we started it. And, that's the last time I spoke to him, basically. Again, my condolences for his passing. Some fans sometimes criticize when a band goes on. Was it difficult for you to continue on, or was it the proper thing to do to sort of honor the band, honor his legacy, and just keep moving forward? No, absolutely. That was the proper thing to do. And, since then we've done quite a few tours and stuff like that. So, we're just keeping the movement of Yes music going. Is there a new Yes album in the offing? You know what? Everybody's got music in their minds because everybody involved with the camp, is basically we do stuff at home, and everybody got stuff in their minds, and we've all got. You've got to get that stuff out of your brain and get it recorded,
and then work on new stuff. So everybody's very enterprising in that area.
Is it important, like a band for Yes, at this point, to come up with new music? Because, listen, let's be honest, you put your name on the marquee, you're going to get the fans that you're going to get. Is it important to actually create something new?
Of course it is. I mean, Yes, I've always been a band that looks over the horizon, not at it, and that's the difference. So, we've got stuff that we've all got in our heads that we want to get out to the public.
Yeah, that's something very much worth looking forward to. And then, since we're running out of time here, quickly, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ignored bands like yourselves, progressive bands, and even the heavy metal bands for forever. Important to be nominated and eventually get in, or just, it didn't really change my life before, so...
You know what? I think everybody deserves it who was involved from the beginning and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people are quite starting to feel it's a little bit boring. But at the same time, it would be an honor, So you have kind of a split decision in your head on how you deal with all that kind of stuff,
It's one of those sort of mixed blessings, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, we've got plenty of awards. I mean, I've got a Grammy for cinema, which is like an instrumental thing we recorded. So that's how crazy it is.
John Anderson, Trevor Rabin, Rick Wakeman are currently on tour doing their own thing. If the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame pans out, can you guys play together again, or is there such an animosity, or is there any animosity? Is it possible?
Well, there's a certain amount, but I actually talk to everybody, so it's a matter of other people sorting their opinions out, So I can't say anything there. I just know that I know both camps really well.
Maybe on your own personal wish list is that let's just do this and play and be happy and life's too short, or is it too political?
Well, of course.
Okay.
No, I don't get into politics of band stuff. I mean, it gets too crazy after a while. It's worse than the marriage.
It really is, and a lot of times it's over things that a manager or a publicist and it's just like, come on, let's just get back down to doing what we do, and then we'll finish with this XYZ, of course, with Jimmy Page. How was that project for you, and do you wish that it had gone further than it did?
You know what? Some of that music that we created at that time, Chris and myself were writing quite a lot of it, and some of it ended up on other albums. Like, oh my God! I mean, there's some things like just ended up on albums in other places. But if we'd continued doing that, I could see how we would have got it to a point where it was pretty acceptable. It was a period of time where we were just like taking a stepping stone in the future.
I mean, a lot of this came after the band disbanded in '81. Was it just you didn't have an outlet and so you had this stuff accumulating? Or was it more of a scramble saying, oh man, what are we going to do now? We don't have...
No, yeah, I got a call from Chris saying, look, Jimmy called me and said, should we get together? And we just went and had fun for like a month in his studio, but we had a bunch of stuff that Chris and myself had been writing, so we put it to the test, But the album Keys to Ascension actually has 2 songs from that period of time.
And let's not forget Run with the Fox, the Christmas song that came out. Alan,
that's a great song, by the way. I love that song.
It really is, and it would be nice actually to see you and the band maybe do another song, a Christmas song like that, just to sort of relive that moment? Because it's an interesting...
Yeah, relive the whole atmosphere. Yeah, Run with a Fox was a classic Christmas song that, one of these years we should really try and re-release it.
Yeah, and, as you head over to Japan, maybe just throw it in there. Why not? Give the fans a treat, something that they've probably never seen live. And then I had a geek question for you way down at the bottom here. A geek question. Yeah, Geek Squad time on 90125. In the credits, you are credited for using the Fairlight CMI, which is also the computer musical instrument. How was that for you to get into the technology, and how important was it for Yes to push those boundaries and start getting into sort of a non-acoustic sound and a more, how was that for you?
Well, the band's always been immersed in electronics and what was the next thing coming out. I mean, when Rick Wakeman came along with a mini movie, it was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. So it's part of the movement forward in Yes music. Whatever was around, I remember at one time building my own first computer for the drums, where it took a signal and turned it into electronic noises, and I spent a fortune on it. But at the same time, it was like a steam-driven instrument, electronics. It was a whole rack with knobs and all this kind of stuff, but it didn't make a noise. So I remember doing that very early in Yes' career in the 70s, and nowadays you can pick it up in no time.
And is that something, by the way, that you still favor, is experimenting with different sounds? Or do you look back sometimes and think, man, we went too far away from, standard drums and standard electric guitar?
No, we never did that.
Okay.
It was always encompassed in using electronics, but within the realm of music.
Alan, a great pleasure, and I do apologize for all the phone issues we've had this afternoon. But I do wish you...
Well, it might be my fault or yours, I don't know. But you're on Skype, and I'm on my regular phone here. So, but the signal is not great where I am.
Yeah, no, I think it's a combination of both, actually. And who knows? Technology as it is. But great career, great. I do wish you the best of health. I've had back issues myself, and man, it's a bummer.
Currently, I don't like painkillers at all, but I had a couple of Tylenol, and that seems to relieve the issue pretty well, but it doesn't affect your system.
Thank you, and let's do this again soon with better phones.
Well, maybe we'll set it up next time.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right, bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. And there you have it, folks, my interview with Alan White. It took 3 separate phone calls to get it done. Oh, thank you, technology, but there you go. Cruise to the Edge with the band Yes coming up in 2017. Alan's health, obviously, better, and there you go. So please check me out on Twitter at Mitch Lafon, MITCHLAFON. Same thing on Instagram, except there's an underscore between the Mitch and the Lafon. One-on-one Mitch Lafon on Facebook, and paypal.me/Mitch Lafon. That is just a lot of Mitch Lafon for you, isn't there? But there you go. Bye for now. Thank you for listening, and au revoir. Oh my. And now, an outtake from the first call. We are speaking with Yes drummer Alan White. Pleasure to speak with you, Alan.
You too.
So there's a lot to cover. Let's start off with the obvious. The band was on tour all summer doing Tales from Topographic Oceans and Drama. You weren't able to be part of it because of your back. How are you feeling at this time?
I'm doing a lot better. In fact, I'm going to Japan with the band next week.
Right. And talk to me about that, the Japan tour. Are you at all nervous that you might make a false movement or you might do something and it'll re-injure or re-aggravate the back, or at this point, are we confident that we're fully healthy? Hello? Hello?